Control and coordination. Introduction. In multicellular organisms, a control on their life. A control on their life. पिकोड़िया की कर रही है तू? In multicellular organisms, a control on their life processes and a coordination between the various systems is necessary to maintain homeostasis, plant, chemical signal and various type of movement. Example: phototropic, chemotactic, thigmotactic, etc. Higher animals, nervous, electrical system, endocrine, chemical control system. In porifera, sponges, absence of nervous system. Nervous system. Nervous system. The most nervous system in Hydra. The most primitive diffuse nervous system with the sensory cells and the nerve cells. There are sensory cells scattered in the body wall and tentacles. The nerve cells are interconnected to form the two nerve nets in the mesoglium. One connected to epidermis and the other to the gastrodermis. And the structure of a hydra. Actually, do you know what is the structure of a hydra? Just a second. The most primitive cell. The most primitive cell. Okay, then the nerve impulse is without polarity. The diffuse type of nervous system is also found in the ctenophora as well as in the gut wall of higher animals including mammals. Okay, right? लाइट कम कर देती हूँ. Nervous system in planaria flatworm. It is the most primitive animal with a central. Just a second. Reduce this radiation. Okay. Simple लगाते हैं. मेरे पास यहाँ से तो यहाँ और यहाँ से यहाँ पे और यहाँ सेट करूँ. Okay. Nervous system in planaria flatworm. It is the most primitive. It is the most primitive animal with a central nervous system. It is the most primitive animal with a central nervous system. CNS location ventral side of body. Eye spot, brain, nerve cord, transverse nerve. It consists of a mass of cerebral or cephalic. It consists of mass of cerebral or cephalic ganglion in the head region and single sensory cells scattered in the body. From the ventral lower side of each ganglion arise 9 branches towards the outer side. The two ventral nerve cords B and C, arising from the ganglia are interconnected by commissures to form a ladder-like structure. The peripheral nerve plexus arising laterally from VNS includes sensory cells arranged from the ventral lower side of each ganglion arise 9 branches toward the outer side. The two ventral nerve cords VNC arising from a ganglia are interconnected by commissures to form a ladder-like structure. The peripheral nerve plexus arising laterally from VNS includes sensory cells arranged in lateral cords in the body, a pair of photosensory structure. The eyes are located on dorsal side of the brain. Evolution of CNS. CNS means what is the CNS? Central nervous system. CNS full form is central nervous system. Evolution of neuron as signaling cells, a gradual change from a diffuse neural system to a centralized nervous system. Evolution of a complex networking system which efficiently transmits signal between one part or organ of the body and another. neural tissue, two types of cell, the neurons and the neuroglia or glial cells. A nerve is bundle of axons. A nerve is bundle of axons. A nerve is bundle of axon. The nerves may be sensory or motor or mixed type. The receptor sensory includes towards the CNS central nervous system. Processing in the central nervous system, the motor commands the response. Neurons, nerve cell, the structural and functional units of the nervous system. Each multipolar neuron has three parts: cyton, dendron and axon. Cyton, dendron and axon. It's multipolar neurons. Cyton has a distinct central nucleus and neuroplasm granules. The nucleus is surrounded by neurofibrils, Nissls granules and other cells organelles. Nissls granules synthesis of the enzyme required for formation of the neurotransmitter. Neurofibrils transmission of nerve impulse. Dendrons small conical processes arising from the cyton and are further branches into fine dendrites. They transmit message towards the cyton. Axon, a long unbranched process arising from the cyton at the axon hillock. It consists of a bundle of neurofibrils. The axon terminates into branches called telodendrons. The axons carry the messages away from the cytons. The lateral branches of axons are called collaterals. The terminal branches attached to a muscle gland, skin or dendrites of another neuron. The interconnection between two neurons is called synapse. The cytons are generally found inside the brain, spinal cord and central nervous system and in the ganglia. Small groups of cell bodies inside the white matter of brain are called basal nuclei. Nerve structure. A nerve is a bundle of axons which may be medulated if covered by medullary sheath or non-medulated if medullary sheath is absent. The medulated nerves conduct impulse 50 times faster than the non-medulated nerves. All the nerves have a blood supply to provide oxygen and nutrients. A nerve fascicle is covered by endoneurium. Several fascicles are enclosed in the perineurium. The outermost covering of the nerve is called epineurium. Neuroglial cells. The neuroglia are the supporting cells of the central nervous system and what is PNS? Central and feels what? Central nervous system और the PNS is there. CNS means the central nervous system, VNS means the ventral nervous system, and what is a PNS? Primary nervous system. Literally, I don't know what is PNS. Okay, let's check it on Google. Baba. गुगली बुगली बाबा से हम पूछते हैं कि क्या होता है PNS का फुल फॉर्म. Hey Google, what is the full form of a PNS?
According to Unacademy, PNS represents peripheral nervous system.
Peripheral nervous system. Thank you so much. PNS means the peripheral nervous system. They are derived from the ectoderm. Central nervous system, ependymal cells, oligodendrocytes, peripheral nervous system, satellite cell and Schwann cell and satellite cell. एंड सेंट्रल नर्वस सिस्टम में जो आता है जो है एपिंडाइमल सेल्स, ओलिगोडेंड्रोसाइट्स, एस्ट्रोसाइट्स एंड माइक्रोग्लिया, types of neuroglia cells. And function of neuroglial cell is सेंट्रल नर्वस सिस्टम जिसमें 4 टाइप्स आते हैं, ओलिगोडेंड्रोसाइट, उसका फंक्शन है these cells have few branches and mainly form the myelin sheath around the central axon, which forms white matter of central nervous system. Myelin, an isolating sheath, is made up of protein and fatty substance. It allows quick transmission of electrical impulses. Second type is microglia or brain macrophages. That function is a small sized cells with few branches. These are derived from monocytes and act as a macrophage. They go to the site of injury, dead neurons and cell debris in the central nervous system. They mediate immune response in the central nervous system. Third type of astrocyte. Function is star-shaped cells and the most abundant glial cells of central nervous system. They have varied roles in the brain secretion and absorption of neural transmitter and maintenance of blood-brain barrier. BBB, blood-brain barrier, regulate the transmission of electrical impulses with the brain. Ependymal cells, and its function is to form single layer of squamous or columnar, often ciliated epithelial cells lining the ventricles or brain cavities and central canal of spinal cord, mainly responsible for production of, probably also for circulation of, CSF. And what is the CSF full form? Central CSF full form. CSF CSF. What is the full form of CSF? Comment down now. Hey Google, what is the full form of a CSF?
According to ScienceDirect.com, cerebrospinal fluid is a liquid that fills the ventricles of the brain in the spinal cord and acts as a lubricant and a mechanical barrier against shock.
Cerebrospinal fluid. CSF full form is a cerebrospinal fluid. Okay. In brain ventricles and central canal. Yeah. Then the second type location is a peripheral nervous system, that is a PNS, peripheral nervous system, and its cell type is a Schwann cell, and its function is that there are the most abundant glial cells of peripheral nervous system. They produce myelin sheath around medullary nervous of peripheral nervous system. And second cell type is satellite cells. They support the function of neurons. Synapse, a junction between two nerve cells which allows transmission of impulse by a neurotransmitter bridge. It contains a small gap called the synaptic cleft. The neuron carrying an impulse to the synapse is the presynaptic neuron. The neuron receiving impulse at the synapse is the postsynaptic neuron. The process by which the impulse from the presynaptic neuron is conducted to the postsynaptic neuron or cell is called synaptic transmission, which is unidirectional. Properties of nerve fibers: excitability, the ability to perceive stimulus and turn active due to polarity; conductivity, the ability to transmit the excitation. Stimulus, it is any detectable physical, chemical, electrical change in the external or internal environment which brings about excitation, brings forth excitation, which brings about excitation, which brings about excitation in the nerve muscle organism. The minimum intensity a stimulus must have to effective is called threshold stimulus, weak stimulus, subliminal, strong stimulus, supraliminal. Okay, weak stimulus is subliminal and strong stimulus is supraliminal. Supraliminal. Summation effect. Several subliminal stimuli, when given in quick succession, they may produce an impulse. All or none law. In presence of subliminal stimuli, a nerve will either conduct the impulse along its entire length or will not at all conduct the impulse. Refractory period. It is the time interval during which a nerve fails to respond to a second stimulus, however strong it is. Synaptic delay. The time is required for the release of neurotransmitter from the axonic terminal and excitation in the dendron of the next neuron. The impulse requires about 0.3 to 0.5 milliseconds to cross the synapse. Synaptic fatigue. The temporary stoppage of transmission of nerve impulse across the synapse due to exhaustion of its neurotransmitter. Velocity, it is the rate of transmission of impulse. It is high in long and thick nerves in homeotherms. In voluntary fibers and its modulated nerves, it is low in poikilotherms, in involuntary nerves, and in non-modulated nerves. Types of synapse: electrical synapse and chemical synapse. Narrow synaptic cleft 3.8 nanometer. The two neurons are connected by an electrical conductive link. They may be bidirectional or unidirectional. Electrical synapses are found in the defense reflexes also. Chemical synapse. Broad synaptic cleft 20 to 40 nanometer. It involves chemical signaling from one neuron to the other neuron and to non-neuronal cells such as gland as muscle. A chemical synapse between a motor neuron and a muscle cell is called a neuromuscular junction. There are three components of a typical chemical synapse: the presynaptic terminal, the synaptic cleft, and the postsynaptic neuron. The impulse travels along the axon of the presynaptic neuron to the axon terminal, which has several synaptic nodes, each with synaptic vesicles. The synaptic vesicles contain neurotransmitter molecules. As an impulse reaches a synaptic node, voltage sensitive calcium channels open and calcium diffuse inward from the extracellular fluid. The synaptic vesicle fuse with the cell membrane and presynaptic neuron. Fuse with the cell membrane and presynaptic neuron and release their neurotransmitter by exocytosis. The neurotransmitters bind to the receptor of the postsynaptic cell based on the type of neurotransmitter involved. The action is either excitatory or inhibitory. After the impulse has been transferred across the synapse, the neurotransmitter is destroyed and the synapse is ready to receive a new impulse. Transmission of nerve impulse. Synaptic. Presynaptic neuron, nerve impulse, calcium voltage gate channel, cytoplasm, transmission of nerve impulse. The nerve impulse is a wave of bioelectrical or electrochemical disturbance passing along a neuron. The transmitter of the nerve impulse is due to electrical charges cross the neuronal membrane. The voltage of a charged cellular membrane of a neuron is different on the outer and inner side of the membrane. The external tissue fluid has both sodium and potassium, but there is predominance of sodium and chlorine, while potassium is predominant in the intercellular fluid. This polarized state of a resting nerve is due to maintenance of excess of sodium on the outer side. On the inside, there is an excess of potassium along with large negatively charged protein molecules and nucleic acid. There is sodium and potassium pump in the membrane actively restores the ions to their appropriate site. It forces sodium and out and the potassium is forced inside the membrane against the concentration and electrochemical gradient and is called sodium pump and sodium potassium exchange pump. The process required adenosine triphosphate. The difference in distribution of sodium and potassium on the two sides of the membrane results in a potential difference of about 70 millivolts in a resting nerve. It is called resting potential. Overall charge negative on the inside and positive charge on the outside. The nerve membrane has voltage gated channels for sodium potassium. These channels enable the neuron to change the membrane potential to active potential in response to stimuli. They are closed during resting potential. Generation of nerve impulse. Depolarization. It occurs because पिकोड़िया हो गई है पगलिया पिको 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 नीचे जा रही थी आपने बुलाओ जरा उसे बुलाओ नीचे जा रही है वो Depolarization, it occurs due to rapid influx of sodium as the sodium gates open but not the potassium gates. Extracellular fluid ECF extracellular fluid becomes electronegative with respect to the inner membrane, which becomes electropositive. The value of action potential is 30 millivolts to 60 millivolts. This triggers depolarization in the next part while earlier part becomes repolarized. Repolarization, it is a change in polarity from depolarized state back to the original state after a short interval called in refractory refractory period. As large number of sodium ions and inside, there is a drop in the permeability of membrane to sodium and it become more permeable to potassium ions by opening the potassium voltage gates and slowly closing the sodium gates, a process of producing a wave of stimulation causing depolarization followed by repolarization is repeated continuously up to the end of axon terminal. In modulated nerves, the transport pump and gated channels can operate only in the region of nodes of Ranvier. The action potential therefore jumps from node to node causing saltatory conduction 120 meter per second. Steps in generation and conduction of nerve impulses. Application of stimulus on resting nerve. Permeability of membrane changes and it becomes more permeable to sodium. Sodium ion diffuse into the extracellular fluid. Number of positive ions inside axon increases. Membrane potential changes from minus 70 meter volt to about 30 meter volt, and this change in the membrane potential is called action potential. Since the polarity has been reversed from negative on outside and positive, it is also called depolarization compared to extracellular fluid. Repolarization at the peak of action potential 30 meter volt, the sodium channels close, potassium gets open, the membrane becomes more permeable to potassium. Potassium ions diffuse out of the axon. The inside of the membrane becomes less and less positive, becomes negative once again. Exoplasm inside becomes negatively charged and extracellular fluid becomes positively charged respectively. Human nervous system. The well-developed and complex nervous system in human is classified into three parts: central nervous system, peripheral nervous system, and autonomic nervous system. Nervous system, central nervous system, peripheral nervous system, and autonomic nervous system. Types in central nervous system is brain, spinal cord. Types in brain: forebrain, midbrain, hindbrain. Forebrain, cerebrum, diencephalon. Midbrain, optic lobes, optic chiasma. Hindbrain, cerebellum, pons varolii, medulla oblongata. Peripheral nervous system, cranial nerves, spinal nerves, automatic nervous system, sympathetic nervous system, and parasympathetic nervous system. Central nervous system. The brain and spinal cord are main parts. Location: the mid-dorsal axis. Brain is enclosed within the cranium while the spinal cord passes through the vertebral canal of the vertebral column. The central nervous system is covered by three meaning: dura mater, the outermost tough, non-vascular, thick and fibrous meninges; arachnoid mater, the middle thin and non-vascular wave-like meninges; and pia mater, the innermost delicate, highly vascular meninges. Between dura mater and arachnoid mater, subdural space with a serous fluid. Between arachnoid mater and the pia mater, subarachnoid liquid space filled with cerebrospinal fluid. Cerebrospinal fluid is extracellular alkaline fluid with a specific gravity of 1.005. Location in the subarachnoid space, the ventricles of brain and the central canal of spinal cord. Quantity 100 to 120 cc. Functional. The central the cerebrospinal fluid is secreted by the pia mater, the choroid pyxis, and the ependymal cells lining the ventricle of the brain and central canal of spinal cord. Thus, the what is CSF full form? The cerebrospinal fluid drains out from the three openings in the roof of medulla oblongata. The meanings of cerebrospinal fluid acts as a shock absorber and protect the brain and spinal cord from mechanical injuries. The cerebrospinal fluid maintains constant pressure inside cranium, helps in exchange of nutrients and wastage between blood and brain tissue, helps in the supply of oxygen to the brain, protects the brain from desiccation. The human brain. Encephalology. Encephalology, the study of brain. Three parts of brain: forebrain, midbrain, and hindbrain. The forebrain consists of olfactory lobes, peduncle, and olfactory bulb. Cerebrum. It is the largest part of the brain, divided into right and left cerebral hemisphere. Corpus callosum. A thick band of nerve fibers connects the two hemispheres. Then our no mirror. 11 कंचुलन खाद स्टार्टिंग का पढ़ेंगे. Identify the entomophilous plant from the following. It is what? Entomophilous. Entomo is a salvia, I think. Salvia is the entomophilous, right? Or not? Salvia. Smooth. Smooth muscles lining the wall of scrotum are called dartos. Sindhi. What is that? Sindhi. Dartos. That's dartos. Out of the following combination, which individuals will have maximum genetically active DNA? That is a 44 plus XX. That is 44 plus XX. क्या कहा बा मम्मी? तो क्यों मारने का वालो? part. Okay, then select the correct pair. Then Z trans gene I represent is the correct pair. I think. Which of the following is a connecting link between fish and amphibian? Is ichthysto, what is ichthyostagia? Ichthyostagia. Genotype of human blood group B is IB and I. IB and I. Bakane disease in rice is associated with the discovery of Bakane. Gibberellins. Gibberellins. QRS is related to ventricular contraction. Ventricular contraction. Deficiency of a thyroxine in adults causes diabetes. No way. Myxoedema. Myxoedema. Find out one out is a Holstein. 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 Analyze the layers of sporoderm and their composition. Outer layer exine is composed of sporopollenin and inner layer intine is composed of cellulose and pectin. Give definition of photomorphogenesis. Photomorphogenesis is the control of morphogenesis of plants by light, and phytochrome is called photomorphogenesis. What is the other name of vagus nerve? Pneumogastric. Pneumogastric. What is the microbial source of enzyme invertase? What is the microbial source of enzyme invertase? The microbial source of enzyme invertase is Saccharomyces cerevisiae. Cerevisiae. Saccharomyces cerevisiae, it is a enzyme invertase microbial source. What is outcrossing? Outcrossing, mating of animals within the same breed but having no common ancestor on either side of mating partners up to 4 to 6 generation is called outcrossing. Name the parasites causing subcutaneous filariasis. Subcutaneous filariasis. Name of parasite. Okay. Name the parasites causing subcutaneous filariasis, and it is a type of malaria, right? It is a loa loa, Manzonilla sp. Manzonilla sp. Manzonilla sp. What is stratification? What is stratification? Stratification is the vertical distribution of different species of plant and animals occupying different levels. What are Dobson's units? Dobson's units. Thickness of the ozone in the column of the air from the ground to the top of the atmosphere. To the top of the atmosphere is measured as Dobson's unit. It is du. How polyembryony can be commercially exploited. Polyembryony is the development of more than one embryo inside the seed. When such polyembryonic seed germinate, multiple seedlings are obtained from it. This condition increases the chances of survival of new plant. New nuclear 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 embryos. Nuclear embryos are genetically identical to parent plants, hence, we get informed plants. In horticulture, these are used as rootstock for grafting, hence, they have significant role in fruit breeding program. Citrus mango, half mark of each point, any 4 point citrus mango. Human female has restricted reproductive life. In human female, the reproductive period is about 30 to 33 years. Okay, there is menarche at the age of about 13 and menopause at the age of 45 to 50. During this span of 30 years, ovaries secrete sex hormones like estrogen and progesterone. After menopause, this secretion is suspended due to changes in hormonal level. Human females cannot produce eggs later. Moreover, eggs in her ovaries are utilized by the age of 45. Human female therefore has restricted reproductive period. Distinguish between leading strand and lagging strand. Leading strand is synthesized towards the replication fork, and lagging strand is synthesized away from the replication fork. It is synthesized continuously, it is synthesized discontinuously. Okazaki fragments are not formed, it is synthesized in the form of Okazaki fragments. Only one RNA primer is required for synthesis of leading strand. Synthesis of each Okazaki fragment needs one RNA primer. It is sketch label diagram for Urey and Miller experiment. Okay, sketch the label diagram. I am gonna sketch this diagram like the जस्ट कंप्लीट हो गया। The Urey and Miller experiment। आपको दिख ही नहीं रहा है। तो यहाँ जो ऊपर है इलेक्ट्रोड्स 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 कार्बन स्पार्क, कार्बन का स्पार्क, देन गैसेस जिसमें गैस है CH4 मीथेन, NH3 अमोनिया, NH3 अमोनिया होता है, H3O is I don't know what is that but hydrogen, H2 is a peroxide I don't know then यहाँ एक चीज़ बना भूल गई, कंडेंसर, वाटर वाटर होता है यहाँ से आउट, यहाँ से होता है वाटर इन, देन इट इज अ वाटर ड्रॉपलेट जो कि नीचे जाता है, उसके बाद वाटर कंटेनिंग ऑर्गेनिक कंपाउंड्स, वाटर कंटेनिंग organic water containing organic compound and it is a liquid in water trap, liquid in water trap with liquid in water trap and it is a boiling water, boiling water और ये है कंडेंसर, कंडेंसर और में ये हो रहा है कार्बन, spark, it is an electrode, electrode and मुझे ऊपर लगाना है to vacuum pump, to vacuum pump। ये है हमारा यूरे एंड मिलर्स एक्सपेरिमेंट, दिख रहा है भी आपको, थोड़ा दिख रहा होगा वही है। Draw the knit diagram of lenticell and add a short note on lenticular transpiration. Lenticells are small, raised structure composed of loose cells with large intercellular spaces situated on bark. They are observed on bark of old stem, root and on woody pericarp of fruits. Lenticular transpiration is of very small amount, about 0.1% to 1% of total transpiration. It is very slow process but occurs throughout the one day. स्ट्रक्चर ऑफ लेंटिस सेल बनाती है. फर्स्ट सर्कल, देन उसके नीचे थोड़ा थोड़ा सा
इधर कैसे बढ़ गई तू पहले बता.
it is all lenticular pore. Pore and loose complementary cells. It is structure of lentice cell. Give the equation of amino acid synthesis. Okay, amino acids are synthesized by two methods: reductive emission and transmission. Amino acids are synthesized by two methods: it's reductive emission and transemission. First is reductive emission. Reductive amination or transamination. Reductive amination or a transamination. Reductive amination. Ammonia reacts with alpha ketoglutarate acid. Ammonia reacts with alpha ketoglutarate alpha ketoglutarate acid. That is alpha होता है ग्लूटामेट प्लस H2O प्लस NADF NADP. Then second wave. Transformation. Amino as group of one amino acid is transferred to other carboxylic acid at keto position. That is the glutamic acid. First is our glutamic acid plus oxaloacetic acid. Oxaloacetic acetic acid, that is react is glutamate aspartate, glutamate aspartate, 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 and aminotransferase and aminotransferase. It is aspartic acid. It is asparagic acid plus alpha ketoglutarate acid, alpha ketoglutarate, alpha ketoglutarate acid. Then name the two heart sounds. How and when are they produced? In one normal heartbeat, the heart sounds like lub and dub are produced once each. The rhythmic contraction systole, the relaxation diastole forms heartbeat. The heart sounds are due to closure of valve. Lub sounds is produced during ventricular systole when the cuspid valves close both the anteroventricular apertures, preventing blood flow into atria. The sound is produced during ventricular diastole when CV lunar valves are closed, prevention backflow and blood from pulmonary trunk and symphysis aorta into ventricles. Analyze the different parts of brain. There are three divisions of brain: with forebrain, that's a prosencephalon; midbrain, that is a mesencephalon; and headbrain, that is a rhombencephalon. Forebrain is divided into cerebrum, palicephalon, and diencephalon, thalamencephalon. Underdeveloped olfactory lobes, rhinecephalon cephalo can also be seen in anterior region. Midbrain consists of corpora, quadrigemina, and crura cerebri. Hindbrain has cerebellum, metencephalon, and brainstem. It is divided into pons varolai and medulla oblongata myelencephalon. What is semen? Describe the composition of semen. Semen is the viscous, alkaline and milky fluid having pH 7.2 to 7.7, ejaculated during sexual intercourse by male. A single ejaculation of semen, that is 1.5 to 4 ml semen, contains about 400 millions of sperm. Semen consists of sperm suspended in secretion of the epididymis and the accessory glands, seminal vesicles, prostate gland, and Cowper's gland. The semen nourishes the sperm by fructose, neutralizes acidity by calcium ions and bicarbonates, and also activates them for movement due to prostaglandins. Sketch the label the graph showing logistic growth curve of the population. Logistic growth curve of the population. That is the logistic growth curve of the population graph. Then it is a lag phase. It is log or exponential phase. Exponential phase. It is a stationary phase, and it is diminishing growth phase, diminishing growth phase, that is growth size or weight of the organism. Growth size or weight of the organism, that is, and it is a time, that is a logistic growth curve of the population. Logistic growth. Log phase, lag phase, log or exponential phase. It is a stationary phase. It is the diminishing growth phase. It is size growth of weight of the organism, and it is time. And next is give result. Additional apoplastic pathway through pathway mutation. Okay, then give addition Apoplastic pathway through secondary roots is beneficial to plants. Secondary roots develop from the pericycle which is inside endodermis. Protoxylem is situated close to pericycle in root. Endodermis have suberized layer Casparian strip which forces water to move in symplast so that it can enter the vascular xylem. Since secondary roots originate from pericycle, they bypass the Casparian strip, therefore a direct pathway to xylem and phloem is available without moving into symplast. Without moving to symplast. Without moving to symplast. What are the decisive factors of population density? The density of a population in a given habitat during a given period fluctuates due to changes of four basic procedures with natality, that is birth rate, the number of births during a given period in the population that are added to the initial density. Mortality, that is death rate, the number of deaths in the population during a given period. Immigration, that is number of individuals of the same species that having come into the habitat from elsewhere during the time period under consideration. Immigration, that is the number of individuals of the population who left the habitat and gone elsewhere during the time period under consideration. Natality and immigration increases population density, whereas mortality and immigration decreases it. Name the hormone produced by placenta of women during pregnancy. Placenta of women during pregnancy gives placenta hormone HCG, HPL, human placenta lactogen, and relaxin. Significance of corpus luteum. Corpus luteum is the temporary source of female hormone progesterone. Corpus luteum is formed from empty Graafian follicle after the process of ovulation. Due to progesterone secreted from corpus luteum, the endometrial wall of uterus undergoes repair and increases in thickness. Progesterone is a gestational hormone and thus pregnancy is maintained if corpus luteum is well functional. How many amino acids are required for protein synthesis? From where are they obtained? About 20 different types of amino acids are required for protein synthesis. They are available in cytoplasm. And how DNA regulates protein synthesis? DNA regulates protein synthesis by coding for the specific sequence of amino acid in a protein. This control is possible through transcription of mRNA. DNA is transcribed into mRNA and mRNA translated into a polypeptide with a specific sequence of amino acids. Genetic code is specific for particular amino acid. What is Darwinism? enlist five main postulates of Darwinism. Darwinism means theories of natural selection of speciation as put forth by Charles Darwin. The five main postulates of the theories are as follows: overproduction or prodigality, prodigality, struggle for existence, organic variation, natural selection, origin of new species, speciation. Give correct definition of wall pressure. Thick and rigid cell wall exert a counter pressure to turgor pressure developed on the cell sap is developed on the cell sap is developed from the cell sap is called wall pressure that operates in opposite direction. Turgor pressure. It is the pressure exerted by turgid cell sap onto the cell membrane and cell wall. Osmotic pressure, osmotic potential. The pressure exerted due to osmosis is called osmotic pressure, which is now termed as osmotic potential. Give function of coconut milk. Coconut milk contains natural cytokinin substance kynurenine, which is used as nutritional supplement for callus tissues culture where proliferation is noticed due to promotion of cell division. Ethifon, 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 yeah, ethylene. It is used for fruit ripening. It causes degreening effect by increasing activity of chlorophyllase. Chlorophyllase enzyme for banana and citrus fruits. Abscisic acid, yeah, ABA. It is natural growth inhibiting substance in plants and it acts as plant anti-transpirant causing closure of stomata. It is a stress hormone that induces plant to bear the adverse environmental condition like drought. Identify the following blood cells and state their function. Neutrophil, destruction of pathogen by process of phagocytes, perform amoeboid movement to attack pathogen. Basophil, seen in infected and allergic condition for fighting against infection by secretion of heparin, histamine, serotonin, etc. Eosinophil, anti antihistaminic property, destroy antigen antibody complexes, detoxification by producing antitoxins. Complete the following table regarding carnival nerve. Pathetic, motor, pathetic, name pathetic, type motor, function rotation of eyeball, Trigeminal, mixed function, touch, taste, and jaw movement. Auditory, sensory, hearing, and equilibrium. Vagus, mixed visceral movements and sensation. Describe the ill effects of alcoholism on health. Alcohol in any form is toxic for the body. Hence, as soon as alcohol is consumed, the liver tries to detoxify it. In low doses, it acts as a stimulant, but in high dose, it acts on central nervous system, especially the cerebrum and cerebellum. Still higher dose can induce a comatose condition. Alcohol affects the gastrointestinal tract by causing inflammation and damage to gastric mucosa. Ulceration and painful condition arises in alcoholics. Excessive doses of alcohol induce vomiting. The worst effect of alcohol is on liver, causing disease like cirrhosis. Alcohol induces hypertension and cardiac problems. Alcohol causes deterioration of mental health and emotional well-being. Alcoholic person cannot think due to numbness is in his cerebrum. The social health the social health is greatly affected as the alcoholic can cause problems to his family, friends and society in general. Give the economic importance of fisheries. Economic importance of fisheries is as follows. Fish is a nutritious food and thus is a source of many vitamins, minerals and nutrients. Commercial products such as fish oil, fish metal, fish meal and fertilizers, fish guano, fish glue, isinglass are prepared from fish. These byproducts are used in paints, soaps, oils and medicines. Some organisms like prawns and lobster have high export value and market price. Fish farming and other fishery trades provide job opportunity and self-employment. Productivity and national economy is improved through fishery practices. Write a note on recognition sequence or restriction site. Restriction endonucleases have the ability to recognize specific sequence in DNA and cleave it. There are 4 to 8 nucleotide long and characterized by a particular type of internal symmetry. The specific site at which restriction endonuclease cuts the DNA is called recognition site or restriction site. Each restriction endonuclease recognizes its specific recognition sequence. For example, recognition sequence of the enzyme ECORI is 3-CTTAAG 5-5-G A guanine adenine thymine cytosine 3-. It is a palindrome, that is when read on opposite strand of DNA 3 to 5 or 5 to 3 it reads name. When the enzyme ECORI recognizes the sequence, it breaks each strand at the same site in the sequence that is between the A and G residue. Restriction cutting may result in DNA fragments with blunt ends or cohesive or sticky ends or staggered ends having short single standard projections. Observe the given food wave and answer the following. Name the producers in the above wave. Producer is secondary. Producers corn, crop, flowering plant, lavender plant, and mango tree. Okay. Name the primary consumer in the above wave. That is grass, grasshopper, butterfly, fruit fly, which is an omnivore animal in the above wave. Why? Rat, because it feeds on grains of corn as well as on insects. Observe the given diagram and answer the question based on it. Which apparatus is shown in the given diagram? It is catalytic converter, which is the function of this apparatus. The harmful gases like CO and nitrogen oxide, which are present in the automobile exhaust, are removed by catalytic converters. Thereby, harmful effects of air pollution are reduced. What are the reactions that can take place in block 1, 2, 3? Block 1, nitrogen oxide are present in the exhaust gases. They enter into reduction block of catalyst. The oxides of nitrogen react forming nitrogen and oxygen. In block 2, the exhaust gases enter the next block called oxidation block of the catalyst. Here, hydrocarbons and the newly formed oxygen react to form carbon dioxide. In block 3, the exhaust gases enter into last block. From here, the least harmful gases are released out. Describe the given types of reproduction in lower plant. Budding, it is a type of asexual reproduction. It is a very common occurrence in unicellular fungi, yeast and algae, Protozoa. It is observed in favorable conditions. Mother cell produces small outgrowth which is known as bud. Buds may be one or more, and on separation they grow as new individuals. Spore formation, sporulation. It is a type of asexual reproduction. It is of very common occurrence in lower plants. It occurs by production of motile zoospores that are found in sporangia. Flagellated zoospores, when labrated, can grow independently into new individuals. Biflagellate zoospores are found in algae, Chlamydomonas. Parent cell zoospores, Zoosporangium. What are collagens? What are collagens? Classify the following are formed. Classify the following to form column B as per category given. Codominance. Codominance is a coat color of cattle. Flower color of flower color of Mirabilis jalapa. Incomplete dominance. Flower color of Mirabilis jalapa. What are polygenes? When a character is controlled by two or more than two pairs of genes, the genes are called polygenes. Multiple allelism, human blood groups, pleiotropy, sickle cell anemia. Polygenes hide in human beings. Autosomal dominance, widows speak, autosomal dominant widows speak. Observe the following graph and answer the following question. How is ECG taken? What does it indicate? ECG is taken with the help of an instrument called electrocardiogram, electrocardiograph or ECG machine. Electrocardiograph records the action potential generated by the heart muscle, which have represents ventricular diastole, diastole, diastole. T wave represents ventricular diastole, ventricular diastole. What is P wave? P wave is a small upward wave representing impulse generated by SA node. P wave is caused by atrial depolarization that results in atrial contraction. What are function of ECG? Function of ECG are mainly for diagnosis and also for prognosis. It is useful to detect abnormal functioning of heart as in coronary artery disease, heart block, angina pectoris, tachycardia, ischemic heart disease, myocardial infarction, cardiac arrest. What are the three main layers of eyeball? Main layers of eyeball: sclera, sclera, sclera से sclera मैडम पे याद आता है, sclera मैडम, sclera मैडम, paste. Sclera is the outer layer of dense connective tissue with anterior transparent cornea. Choroid is the middle layer. It is bluish in color, containing many blood vessels. The anterior region is thick and forms the ciliary body. Posterior 2 to 3rd region is thinner. The innermost layer of the eye is the retina, having 3 sub-layers formed by ganglion cells, bipolar cells and photoreceptor cells, which are sensitive to light. What are the different types of photoreceptor cells? There are two types of photoreceptor cells, rods and cones, containing light sensitive proteins. They are termed as photopigment. Rhodopsin, which is a derivative of vitamin A in rods, and iodopsin in cones. The cones are responsible for daylight or photopic vision and color vision. The rods function in dim light, giving photopic vision. The cones are of three types, each containing its own characteristic photopigments that respond to red, green, and blue light. Red, green, and blue light. The definition of plasmid. Plasmid are small extra chromosomal double-stranded circular forms of DNA that replicate autonomously give role of plasmid in bacterial cell. Our plasmid in bacterial cells carry genes for antibiotic resistance and F plasmid are involved in conjugation. Explain how lead plasmid of Agrobacterium tumefaciens acts as a vector for transferring genes to plants. Agrobacterium tumefaciens is a soil bacterium that causes crown gall disease in plants. This disease involves the formation of tumor in the plant. Lead plasmid in a tumefaciens contains a transposon called tDNA. tDNA inserts copies of itself into the chromosomes of infected plant cells. The transposons with the foreign DNA can be inserted into the host cell's chromosomes. A plant cell containing this DNA can then be grown in culture or induced to form a new transgenic plant. That is enough for today. For today this and then I solve question bank. Question bank. Question bank.
Emma, what did come from?
The outer layer of pollen in grains is thick. Correct answer. Then now my first question is the outer layer of pollen grain is thick and made up of complex non-biodegradable substance called as what? Let us see if there answer or not. The outer layer of pollen grains is thick and made up of complex non-biodegradable substance called as sporopollenin. Just a second. Depends on first is a 9 and 9 8 Future Bajul 11 10 13 14 15 10 3 ninth chapter अरे 9 चैप्टर से हम स्टार्ट करूँगी नेक्स्ट ना क्वेश्चन बैंक सॉल्व करना सॉल्व टू मंथ्स इक्विलिब्रियम so which are एक के आगे 9 yes 9 chapter diffused type of nervous system is seen in Hydra planaria shows lateral type of nervous system. In order of stimulus to infective. In order of stimulus, where my in order of stimulus to be effective, the stimulus must have a minimum intensity or sub intensity called threshold stimulus. The resting potential of a neuron is 70 minus 70 millivolts is the resting potential of a neuron. The third ventricle of a brain is connected to the fourth ventricle of brain through duct of Sylvius. Degeneration of dopamine producing neurons in the central nervous system causes Parkinson's disease, literally Parkinson's disease, dopamine degeneration. Aldosterone is a mineral glucocorticoid secreted by adrenal gland. Aldosterone is a mineral glucocorticoid secreted by adrenal gland. Okay. Thymosin has an important role in the development of immune system by maturation of T lymphocytes. Thymosin hypersecretion of growth hormone in childhood causes gigan, gigantism, gigantism. Okay. Enterogastrone, enterogastrone shows gastric contraction and inhibits the secretion of a gastric juice, a gastrin. Okay. Which cells of PMS secrete myelin sheath around the nerve? Okay. Which cells of PMS means our peripheral nervous system secrete myelin sheath around the nerves? Myelin sheath around the nerves is which cells of PMS? Just I quickly. I know quickly. Where's my network? Yeah, strong. Hey Google. Hey Google. Which cells of PMS secrete myelin sheath around the nerves?
Here's what I found on the web.
Which cells of PMS secrete myelin sheath around the nerves?
These are the top results.
After what I Which cells of PNS secrete myelin sheath around the nerves? Myelin sheath भाई business कहाँ से डाल रहा है ये बहुत bad. What is bad?
Here are some results from a search.
Is what? ऐसे होगा तो कैसे होगा? Which cells of PNS secrete myelin sheath around the nerves?
Schwann cells are the cells in the peripheral nervous system, PNS, that secrete myelin sheath around nerves. Schwann cells are the main glial cells in the PNS. They wrap around the axons of motor and sensory neurons to form the myelin sheath. In the PNS, one Schwann cell forms a single myelin sheath. Oligodendrocytes in the central nervous system, CNS, produce myelin in the brain and spinal cord. Myelin is a specialized membrane that helps with cell communication. It has a high lipid to protein ratio, which distinguishes it from other biological membranes.
Give function of astrocytes in nervous system.
Astrocytes are a type of glial cell that perform many functions in the central nervous system, CNS, including 1. Regulating blood flow. Astrocytes interact with blood vessels to regulate blood flow in the CNS. They produce and release molecular mediators like prostaglandins, nitric oxide, and arachidonic acid, which can increase or decrease blood flow. 2. Supporting neurons. Astrocytes provide metabolic support to neurons and help guide their migration during development. They also provide growth factors, cytokines, and extracellular matrix molecules to support neuronal repair and regeneration. 3. Protecting neurons. Astrocytes protect neurons from toxic compounds and oxidative stress. They also help clear excess neurotransmitters and reset synapses for reuse. 4. Maintaining homeostasis. Astrocytes help maintain homeostasis in the CNS, including glutamate, iron, and water homeostasis. They also control extracellular pH. 5. Forming the blood-brain barrier. Astrocytes help stabilize and regulate the blood-brain barrier. 6. Responding to injury. After a CNS injury, astrocytes communicate with the surrounding neuronal and vascular systems to help clear disease-specific protein aggregates. And 7. Modulating immune responses. Astrocytes act as antigen-presenting cells and help modulate immune responses. Astrocytes are the most common cell type in the human CNS, outnumbering neurons.
What is the covering of nerve fascicule called?
The covering of a nerve fascicle is called the perineurium. The perineurium is a connective tissue sheath that surrounds multiple primary fascicles. The perineurium is made up of 7 or 8 layers of fibroblast cells. Nerves are surrounded by 3 layers of connective tissue. 1. Endoneurium surrounds each nerve axon, also known as the endoneurial tube, channel, or sheath. 2. Perineurium surrounds multiple primary fascicles. And 3. Epineurium, another layer of connective tissue that surrounds nerves. Nerves are also covered by a myelin sheath, which is a protective layer of protein and fat that coats the axon. The myelin sheath allows electrical impulses to travel quickly and efficiently along the nerve cells.
Once in a tranquil woodland, there was a fluffy mama cat named Lila. One sunny day, she cuddled with her playful kitten Milo under the shade of an old oak tree. Milo, Lila began, her voice soft and gentle, "You're going to have a new playmate soon." Milo's ears perked up, curious. "A new playmate?" Lila purred. "Yes, a baby sister." Milo's eyes widened with excitement. "A sister? Will she chase tails like I do?" Lila chuckled. "Oh, she'll have her own quirks. You'll teach her, won't you?" Milo nodded eagerly, already dreaming of the adventures they'd share.
electrical synapse differs from. Hey Google.
Hi there, I'm listening. How can I help today?
Hey Google. On the Gemini mode. Gemini mode.
It looks like Gemini can't be played on any apps you have installed.
Hey Google. On a Gemini mode.
Here are some results from a search.
Hey Google. You know what is Gemini? Is a AI tool. So mode on Gemini.
Here are some results from a search.
Hey Gemini.
I found these results. Hello, Anjali. The time is 12:35 a.m. You found the new good morning routine.
Let's try it together. First, let's see what your day looks like. In Nala Sopara, it's 21 and clear.
Here are the voices you can pick for your Google Assistant.
Here are the voices you can pick for your Google Assistant.
Here are the voices you can pick for your Google.
Here are the voices you can pick for your Google. Here are the voices you can pick for your Google Assistant.
Hello. How electrical synapse differs from chemical synapse?
The way they transmit signals is the big difference. With electrical synapses, it's all electrical. The signal travels directly between neurons. Think of it like electricity flowing through a wire, super fast. With chemical synapses, it's a bit more complicated. When a signal arrives, the neuron releases chemicals called neurotransmitters. These chemicals then float across the tiny gap between the neurons and latch onto receptors on the next neuron, which either excites or inhibits it.
What is the function of red nucleus?
The red nucleus is a part of your brain that helps coordinate movement. It's involved in things like controlling your posture and muscle tone, as well as some of the more automatic parts of movement. For example, it plays a role in the swinging motion of your arms when you walk.
Define solitary conduction.
Battery conduction isn't a thing. Conduction generally refers to the flow of heat or electricity. Batteries store electrical energy, but they don't conduct it in the same way a wire does. Did you perhaps mean something else? Maybe you meant to ask about how batteries work?
Now, but name the hormone secreted by pars intermedia in lower vertebrates.
In lower vertebrates, the pars intermedia secretes a hormone called melanocyte stimulating hormone, or MSH for short. Basically, it's all about skin color. MSH causes pigment cells in the skin to disperse melanin, which is the stuff that gives skin its color. So if you see a lizard changing color to blend in with its surroundings, MSH is behind that.
Which disease is caused by hypersecretion of glucocorticoids?
That would be Addison's disease. It's a rare disorder that happens when your body doesn't produce enough of certain hormones. One of the main symptoms is extreme fatigue. Just a reminder that I don't provide medical advice or diagnosis. You should always talk to a medical professional.
Which disease is caused by hypersecretion of glucocorticoids? Please explain me in easy language.
Okay, so here's the lowdown on what happens when your body doesn't make enough of those stress-regulating hormones called glucocorticoids. Normally, these hormones help with all sorts of things, like controlling your blood sugar, managing inflammation, and even giving you that energy boost when you need it. But when your body doesn't make enough, it throws a wrench in a lot of your body's systems. One of the biggest problems is that your body can't handle stress very well. Even small things can feel overwhelming, and you might feel exhausted all the time. Plus, your body's mineral balance gets messed up, which can lead to dehydration, low blood pressure, and even fainting. On top of that, your immune system gets confused. It can start attacking your own body, causing issues with your skin and even your organs. It's kind of like your body's orchestra is missing a key instrument. The whole performance sounds off.
Which organ acts a temporary endocrine gland in females?
That would be the corpus luteum. It's basically a temporary structure that forms in the ovary after an egg is released. For a little while, it starts pumping out hormones like progesterone, which are really important for getting the uterus ready for a possible pregnancy.
Give one role of hormone therapy.
One big role for hormone therapy is to help ease the symptoms of menopause. Menopause is a natural part of aging for women, but it can come with some really unpleasant side effects like hot flashes, night sweats, and mood swings. Hormone therapy works by replacing the hormones your body is not making as much of anymore. That can really make a difference in how you feel day to day.
Define reflex arc.
A reflex arc is your body's super fast automatic response system. Think of it like a shortcut for your brain. It lets your body react to something without having to wait for your brain to fully process what's going on. For example, if you touch a hot stove, you pull your hand away instantly. That's a reflex arc in action. Your nerves in your hand sense the heat and immediately send a signal to your spinal cord. The spinal cord then sends a signal back to your muscles, telling them to contract and pull your hand away. All of this happens way before your brain even registers the pain.
What is monosynaptic reflex?
A monosynaptic reflex is a super simple type of reflex arc. It's called mono because it only has one synapse that's the connection point between two neurons. The classic example is the knee-jerk reflex. You know when the doctor taps your knee with that little hammer and your leg kicks out? That's a monosynaptic reflex in action. The tap stretches a tendon, which triggers a nerve signal. That signal travels directly to the spinal cord, connects with a motor neuron at a single synapse, and then zips right back to the muscle, making it contract. It's a super efficient system for quick automatic responses.
Which extroreceptors is located in semicircular canals?
The extra receptors located in the semicircular canals are called hair cells. These tiny sensory receptors are responsible for detecting rotational movements of the head.
Which receptors denotes the change in BP?
Those would be baroreceptors. They're basically specialized nerve cells that are super sensitive to changes in blood pressure. Think of them like little pressure sensors in your arteries. When your blood pressure drops, these baroreceptors get a little slack and their activity slows down. That sends a signal to your brain, which then kicks into action to try and bring that blood pressure back up. It does this by things like speeding up your heart rate and constricting your blood vessels. The opposite happens when your blood pressure gets too high. The baroreceptors get stretched, which signals your brain to calm things down. It tells your heart to slow down and your blood vessels to relax, letting your blood pressure come back down to normal.
Please explain me in easy language.
Sure, in 18 languages, baroreceptors are specialized nerve cells that sense changes in blood pressure. They help keep your blood pressure stable.
Hey, listen. Hey, listen.
What's up? Okay, what's the message?
Message is explain me easy language. Easy language. BP donate receptors. The change in BP. Which receptor denotes the change in BP? Easy language to explain this.
Okay, I can explain that in a simple way. So you're asking about how our bodies sense changes in blood pressure, BP, and how that differs from how we sense changes in something called VP. Now, just to be sure, by VP, do you mean vapor pressure, which is how easily a liquid turns into a gas?
Which is the outermost layer of human eye?
The outermost layer of the human eye is called the sclera. It's the tough, white part of the eye that you can see. Think of it like the white of an egg. It gives the eye its shape and protects all the delicate inner parts.
Which cells of retina are responsible for scotopic vision?
In the retina, the cells responsible for topic vision, which I'm guessing you mean topical vision, meaning vision that's focused on a specific area, are called cones. There are 3 types of cones, each sensitive to a different color of light, red, green, and blue. This allows us to see the full spectrum of colors.
Name the structure that connects the middle ear to pharynx.
That would be the eustachian tube. It's a narrow channel that connects your middle ear to the back of your nasal cavity. It helps equalize air pressure in your middle ear so your eardrum can vibrate properly and you can hear clearly.
What is cochlea?
The cochlea is a spiral-shaped, fluid-filled tube located in the inner ear. It's the part of the ear that turns sound waves into electrical signals that your brain can understand. Think of it like a tiny microphone. When sound waves enter the cochlea, they cause a membrane inside to vibrate. These vibrations then create ripples in the fluid, which bend tiny hair cells. These hair cells are the real magic. They convert the mechanical energy of the ripples into electrical signals. Those signals are then sent to the auditory nerve, which carries them to the brain for processing.
Name the membrane that covers the cornea.
That would be the conjunctiva. It's a thin, clear membrane that covers the front part of the eye, including the cornea and the inside of the eyelids. Think of it like a protective film that keeps things lubricated and helps prevent infections.
Injury to the medulla oblongata causes sudden death. Explain.
The medulla oblongata is a really important part of your brain. It's like the control center for all sorts of vital functions, the most important being your breathing and heartbeat. When the medulla oblongata gets injured, it basically can't do its job anymore. That means your breathing can stop, your heart might not beat regularly, and you can't control things like swallowing or vomiting. All of these failures pretty much shut down the body, which can quickly lead to death.
Please explain me easy language. Do I explain me?
Okay, let me try explaining that in a simpler way. It sounds like you're asking me to explain something, but you're also asking me to explain how you would explain it to someone else. Is that right? If so, I can definitely help with that. Just tell me what you want to explain, and I can give you some ideas on how to make it easy for someone else to understand.
You explain me this question. Injury to the medulla oblongata causes sudden death. Explain.
Okay, here's how you can explain why an injury to oblongata is like the engine's computer. It controls all the essential functions that keep the car running, like the gas and brakes. If that computer gets damaged, the car can't run properly, and it might even shut down completely. Similarly, the medulla oblongata controls vital functions in our bodies, like breathing and our heartbeat. If it gets injured, it can't send the signals needed to keep these functions going. This can quickly lead to serious problems and even death. This explanation uses a simple analogy to help someone understand the importance of the medulla oblongata and why damage to it is so critical.
Nice to explain me.
You're welcome. I'm glad that explanation is helpful. Let me know if you have any other questions or want me to explain something else in a simple way.
Which two hormones are responsible for the regulation of calcium and phosphorus in the blood?
The two primary hormones responsible for regulating calcium and phosphorus in the blood are parathyroid hormone, PTH. This hormone is produced by the parathyroid glands located in the neck. It increases blood calcium levels by promoting the release of calcium from bones, increasing calcium absorption in the intestines, and reducing calcium excretion by the kidneys. PTH also helps regulate phosphorus levels by increasing its excretion in the urine. Calcitonin. This hormone is produced by the thyroid gland. It has the opposite effect of PTH, lowering blood calcium levels by inhibiting bone resorption, the breakdown of bone tissue, and promoting calcium deposition in bones. Calcitonin also slightly decreases blood phosphorus levels. These two hormones work together in a delicate balance to maintain the proper levels of calcium and phosphorus in the blood, which are essential for various bodily functions like nerve transmission, muscle contraction, and bone health.
So please explain me easy language.
Okay, think of calcium and phosphorus in your blood like the ingredients in a special recipe. You need just the right amount of each for your body to work properly. Now imagine two chefs. Chef PTH. The chef is always trying to increase the amount of calcium in the recipe. They do this by grabbing calcium from your bones, making sure your intestines absorb more calcium from food, and even telling your kidneys to hold on to calcium instead of peeing it out. Chef Calcitonin. This chef is the opposite. They want to decrease the amount of calcium. They tell your bones to store more calcium, and they signal your kidneys to get rid of any extra calcium. These two chefs are constantly working together, making sure the calcium levels in your recipe, your blood, stay just right. They also keep an eye on phosphorus levels, making sure they're balanced too. It's a delicate balancing act, but it's crucial for your body to function properly.
Describe any two hormones produced by the ovaries.
The ovaries produce a couple of key hormones. Estrogen. This is the big one when it comes to female characteristics. Estrogen helps with things like developing breasts, whitening hips, and regulating the menstrual cycle. It also plays a role in bone health and maintaining healthy cholesterol levels. Progesterone. This hormone gets the uterus ready for a possible pregnancy. After you ovulate, release an egg. Progesterone helps thicken the lining of the uterus, creating a nice cozy bed for a fertilized egg to implant. It also helps prevent contractions during pregnancy to keep things calm and stable. These hormones are like the conductors of the female reproductive system, making sure everything happens smoothly and in the right order.
Name the glucocorticoid used in treatment of allergy and why.
This is for informational purposes only. For medical advice or diagnosis, consult a professional. Glucose isn't directly used to treat allergies. Allergies are typically treated with medications like antihistamines, corticosteroids, or decongestants. However, it's worth noting that in severe allergic reactions, anaphylaxis, a quick source of sugar like glucose can be helpful if the person also experiences low blood sugar, hypoglycemia, as a side effect of the reaction or the treatment for it, like epinephrine. This is because epinephrine, a medication used to treat anaphylaxis, can sometimes cause a temporary rise in blood sugar. Let me know if you'd like to learn more about treating allergies.
मच्छर काट रहा है.
छल का मतलब होता है धोखा देना या छल करना. छल कर रहा है का मतलब है कि कोई व्यक्ति धोखा दे रहा है या किसी के साथ छल कर रहा है. क्या आपको किसी खास व्यक्ति के बारे में जानकारी चाहिए?
मच्छर काट रहा है.
मच्छर कार ड्राइवर मच्छर काट रहा है का मतलब है कि मच्छर कार चला रहा है और कार ड्राइवर को काट रहा है। ये एक मजेदार और अजीब वाक्य है क्योंकि मच्छर कार नहीं चला सकते। आप शायद ये वाक्य किसी चुटकुले या कहानी से सुन रहे हैं।
मुझे मच्छर काट रहा है, मैं ऐसे बता रही हूँ आपको और आप मजाक बना रहे हैं।
मुझे क्षमा करें, मैं आपकी बात को गंभीरता से नहीं ले रहा था। मैं समझता हूँ कि आप परेशान हैं क्योंकि आपको मच्छर काट रहा है। मुझे माफ कीजिएगा। क्या मैं आपके लिए कुछ कर सकता हूँ? क्या आपको मच्छरों से बचने के लिए कोई उपाय चाहिए?
उपाय नहीं चाहिए, मुझे अगरबत्ती धरा दो।
ठीक है, मैं आपको अगरबत्ती जलाने में मदद कर सकता हूँ। सबसे पहले आपको एक सुरक्षित जगह चुननी होगी जहाँ आप अगरबत्ती जला सकें। अगरबत्ती को किसी भी ज्वलनशील पदार्थ से दूर रखें। क्या आपके पास अगरबत्ती और माचिस या लाइटर है?
मेरे पास सब है पर मेरे को आता है आलस।
ठीक है, मैं समझता हूँ। अगरबत्ती जलाना थोड़ा मुश्किल हो सकता है, खासकर अगर आप थकान महसूस कर रहे हो। आप चाहें तो किसी और को अगरबत्ती जलाने के लिए कह सकते हैं, या अगर आप चाहें तो मैं आपको कुछ और तरीके बता सकता हूँ जिनसे आप मच्छरों से बच सकते हैं, जैसे कि मच्छरदानी का इस्तेमाल करना या मच्छर भगाने वाला स्प्रे लगाना। आप क्या करना चाहेंगे?
मैंने कुछ नहीं करना, मैंने पढ़ना है।
ठीक है, कोई बात नहीं। पढ़ाई पर ध्यान दीजिए। अगर आपको मच्छर परेशान कर रहे हैं तो आप कोशिश कर सकते हैं कि खिड़कियां और दरवाजे बंद रखें, या फिर अगर आपके पास कोई मच्छर भगाने वाला उपकरण है जैसे कि मच्छरदानी या मच्छर भगाने वाला लिक्विड वाला डिवाइस, तो उसका इस्तेमाल कर सकते हैं। आपकी पढ़ाई में कोई बाधा ना आए, इसी की कामना करता हूँ। शुभ रात्रि।
मैंने तो पढ़ना है, हमारा शुभ रात्रि नहीं होने वाला।
ठीक है, कोई बात नहीं। आप जहाँ भी रह रहे हो, पढ़ाई के लिए एक शांत और सुविधाजनक जगह ढूंढने की कोशिश करें। मुझे आशा है कि आपकी पढ़ाई अच्छी तरह से चल रही है। अगर आपको किसी और चीज में मदद चाहिए तो बेझिझक पूछें। शुभ रात्रि।
मुझे ज़रा एक्सप्लेन करो अच्छे से। नेम द ग्लूकोकॉर्टिकॉइड यूज्ड इन ट्रीटमेंट ऑफ गैलरी एंड व्हाई। प्लीज एक्सप्लेन मी दिस easy language, easy to easy language.
Okay, let's break down the types of quality used in treating allergies, explained in a simple way. First, we have what's called efficacy. This basically means the medicine actually works to relieve your allergy symptoms. So, if you take an allergy pill and it makes your runny nose stop, that's a good sign of efficacy. Next up is safety. This is all about making sure the medicine doesn't cause any harmful side effects. Every medicine has some sort of side effect, but with allergy meds, we want to make sure the benefits of relieving your allergies outweigh any risks. Another important quality is purity. This means the medicine is free from any unwanted substances. It should only contain the active ingredient that helps with allergies, not any harmful impurities. Finally, there's consistency. This means that every time you take the medicine, it should work the same way. You don't want to take a pill one day and have it work wonders, and then the next day it does nothing. These qualities, efficacy, safety, purity, and consistency, are all important when it comes to choosing the right allergy medicine. They make sure you're getting a medication that's both effective and safe for you.
इंग्लिश और हिंदी दोनों मिक्स करके समझाओ, मुझे कुछ समझ नहीं आ रहा है। अच्छे से इंग्लिश और हिंदी दोनों मिक्स करके समझाना।
मुझे क्षमा करें, मैं समझता हूँ कि आपको समझने में थोड़ी दिक्कत हो रही है। आइए इसे हिंदी और अंग्रेजी दोनों को मिलाकर समझने की कोशिश करते हैं। जब हम एलर्जी के इलाज के लिए दवाइयाँ लेते हैं तो हमें ये सुनिश्चित करना होता है कि वे अच्छी गुणवत्ता की हों। इनमें कुछ खास गुण होते हैं। एक, अल्प विराम, कारगर।
Which hormone is secreted by pineal gland? What is its function?
The pineal gland secretes a hormone called melatonin. Melatonin is really important for regulating your sleep-wake cycle. It's sometimes called the sleep hormone because your body produces more of it when it's dark outside. Melatonin helps signal to your body that it's time to wind down and get ready for sleep.
Okay, and what is its function?
The main function of melatonin is to regulate your sleep-wake cycle. It helps control when you feel tired and when you feel alert. Think of it like this. When it gets dark outside, your body starts producing more melatonin. This signals to your brain that it's time to wind down and prepare for sleep. As the sun rises, melatonin production decreases, which helps you wake up feeling refreshed. Melatonin also plays a role in other important bodily functions, but regulating your sleep is its primary job.
Okay. Sketch and label TS of spinal cord.
Sorry, I can't show pictures here yet.
So imagine me this picture.
Okay, imagine this. The spinal cord is like a long, thin rope running down the center of your back. If you were to slice across it, you'd see something like a butterfly or the letter H. That's the basic shape of the spinal cord in cross-section. The wings of the butterfly represent the gray matter. This is where you'll find the cell bodies of neurons. The rest of the area surrounding the gray matter is the white matter. This is mostly made up of the long, cable-like parts of neurons called axons. These axons are coated in a fatty substance called myelin, which gives the white matter its color and helps signals travel quickly. Right down the center of the H shape, there's a tiny canal. This canal is filled with fluid that helps cushion and protect the spinal cord. Let me know if you'd like a more detailed description of any of these parts.
Explain any two extroreceptors with location and function.
Certainly, here are two examples of extrareceptors along with their locations and functions. Baroreceptors. Location. Found in the walls of blood vessels, primarily in the carotid arteries in your neck and the aortic arch near your heart. Function. These receptors are sensitive to changes in blood pressure. When blood pressure increases, the baroreceptors are stretched, sending signals to the brain. The brain then responds by slowing down the heart rate and relaxing blood vessels to lower blood pressure. Conversely, when blood pressure drops, the baroreceptors signal the brain to increase heart rate and constrict blood vessels to raise blood pressure. This helps maintain a stable blood pressure. Chemoreceptors. Location. Found in several places, including the carotid bodies near the carotid arteries and the aortic bodies near the aortic arch, as well as in the medulla oblongata of the brain. Function. These receptors monitor the levels of oxygen, carbon dioxide, and pH acidity in the blood. When oxygen levels drop, carbon dioxide levels rise, or blood pH becomes too acidic, the chemoreceptors send signals to the brain. The brain then increases the rate and depth of breathing to bring oxygen levels back up, remove excess carbon dioxide, and restore the proper pH balance. These are just two examples of the many types of extrareceptors in the body. Each plays a crucial role in maintaining homeostasis, the body's ability to maintain a stable internal environment.
Identify the growth hormone in plants which causes inhibitory effect.
That would be abscisic acid, ABA. Here's why it's considered an inhibitory hormone. Promotes dormancy. ABA helps seeds and buds stay dormant during unfavorable conditions like cold or drought. Inhibits growth. It can slow down the growth of plant organs like stems and roots. Triggers leaf abscission. This is the fancy term for when leaves fall off trees in the autumn. ABA plays a role in this process. Closes stomata. Stomata are tiny pores on leaves that help with gas exchange. ABA helps close these pores during water stress to prevent excessive water loss. So while some plant hormones like auxin and gibberellins promote growth, ABA generally acts as a brake, slowing down growth processes and helping plants survive stressful conditions.
मुझे समझाओ, हिंदी और इंग्लिश दोनों मिक्स करके समझाओ प्लीज़.
क्षमा करें, आपका प्रश्न स्पष्ट नहीं है. क्या आप प्लेस शब्द का हिंदी में अर्थ जानना चाहते हैं या फिर आप किसी और चीज के बारे में पूछ रहे हैं? कृपया अपना प्रश्न स्पष्ट रूप से दोहराएं ताकि मैं आपकी सहायता कर सकूं.
मैं आपसे जो भी क्वेश्चन पूछ रही हूँ वो दोनों इंग्लिश और हिंदी मिलाकर मुझे समझाओ, इंग्लिश और हिंदी दोनों भाषा मिलाकर समझाओ।
आप बिल्कुल सही कह रहे हैं। मैं आपसे जो भी प्रश्न पूछूंगा मैं उसे हिंदी और अंग्रेजी दोनों भाषाओं का मिश्रण करके समझाने की कोशिश करूंगा। उदाहरण के लिए अगर मैं आपसे पूछूं व्हाट इज द कैपिटल ऑफ इंडिया, मैं इसे हिंदी में भी समझा सकता हूं भारत की राजधानी क्या है। क्या आपको ये तरीका समझ में आया? अगर आपके पास कोई और सवाल है तो बेझिझक पूछें।
Which one of the following is not a part of lack operon?
The phrase lack of your own usually refers to a deficiency in something personal or intrinsic. Here are some common aspects associated with a lack of your own. Lack of identity. This refers to not having a strong sense of self, who you are, your values, and what makes you unique. Lack of autonomy. This means not having the freedom or ability to make your own choices and decisions independently. Lack of originality. This implies a lack of creativity, a tendency to imitate others, or an inability to come up with your own ideas. Lack of initiative. This describes a lack of motivation or drive to take action, to pursue goals, or to make things happen. Therefore, the option that is not typically part of a lack of your own would be something external or unrelated to personal development. For example, if the options included something like lack of financial resources, that would not directly fit within the concept of lack of your own. I hope this helps. Let me know if you'd like to explore any of these aspects further.
Lack operon, not operon. Lack operon.
The phrase you provided seems to be a jumble of words and doesn't make grammatical sense. However, I can infer that you might be interested in the lac operon, a classic example of gene regulation in bacteria. Here's a breakdown of the key components of the lac operon. Promoter. This is the region where RNA polymerase binds to initiate transcription of the genes within the operon. Operator. This is a short DNA sequence located near the promoter. The repressor protein binds to the operator, blocking RNA polymerase and preventing transcription. Structural genes. These are the genes that code for the enzymes needed to metabolize lactose. In the lac operon, the main structural genes are LACZ, LACY, and LACA. Pheron is likely not a term related to the lac operon. Let me know if you have any other questions about the lac operon or gene regulation.
What are vestigial organs? Explain me in Hindi and English language.
Vestigial organs, avsheshi ang. English. Vestigial organs are body parts that no longer serve their original purpose in a particular organism. These organs were once functional in ancestors, but have gradually become reduced in size and function over time due to evolutionary changes. Hindi. अवशेषी अंग वे शरीर के अंग हैं जो किसी विशेष जीव में अब अपने मूल उद्देश्य की पूर्ति नहीं करते हैं। ये अंग कभी उनके पूर्वजों में कार्यात्मक थे, लेकिन समय के साथ विकासवादी परिवर्तनों के कारण आकार और कार्य में धीरे धीरे कम हो गए हैं। Examples in humans, मानव में उदाहरण, appendix, अपरूपांश. In our ancestors, it likely helped digest plant material. Now it's often removed if it becomes inflamed. Wisdom teeth, akal daad. Our ancestors likely had larger jaws to accommodate these teeth for chewing tougher foods. Coxicasthi, lumbicasthi. This is the tailbone, a remnant of the tail that our ancestors once had. Ear muscles, karnapeshiyan. Some people can still wiggle their ears, but these muscles are largely non-functional in humans. Significance. Vestigial organs provide valuable evidence for evolution. They show how organisms have changed over time and adapted to new environments. I hope this explanation is helpful. Let me know if you have any other questions.
Give the name of endocrine gland which is prominent of birth but gets gradually atrophied in adult stage. Explain me easy language.
That would be the thymus gland, prominent at birth. The thymus gland is quite large in infants and young children, gradually atrophies. As we reach adulthood, the thymus gland starts to shrink and become less active. Key function: the thymus gland plays a crucial role in the development of the immune system, particularly in the early stages of life. It helps in the maturation of T cells, which are a type of white blood cell that fights off infections. I hope this helps. Let me know if you have any other questions.
What is full form of IAA?
IAA stands for indole 3 acetic acid. It's a crucial plant hormone that belongs to the auxin class.
Give the name of microbial source of antibiotic chloromycetin.
The microbial source of the antibiotic chloromycetin is Streptomyces venezuelae. This bacterium is a species of soil-dwelling bacteria that produces a variety of antibiotics, including chloromycetin.
Explain the term of immigration.
Migration is the movement of people from one place to another. Here's a simple breakdown. It's about movement. Migration isn't just about visiting a place for a short time. It usually involves a more permanent or semi-permanent change of residence. Can happen within a country or between countries. You can migrate within your own country, like moving from a small town to a big city. Or you can migrate internationally, moving from one country to another. Reasons: I'm ready to be your voice. If you like what you hear, choose me to start talking.
Feel free to keep exploring until you find the perfect one.
You can always change voices later. I'm ready.
If you're curious about the other voices, swipe to explore or pick me to start talking.
It's good to meet you. Give me a chance, or
Maybe I'm your style. Pick me. And
I'd be honored to be the voice you choose. Choosing a voice is tricky, but hopefully it's also fun. Here's hoping
maybe I'm the voice that's right for you. But I'm another voice in the mix. Ready to.
Choosing a voice is tricky, but hopefully it's also fun. Here's hoping I'm your voice of choice.
Explain the term emigration. Emigration refers to movement of individual out individuals out of a population of a geographical area, leading to a decrease in population size in the original location. Location in the original location. It is key factor in population dynamics. What are the reasons for the success of Mendel? Mendel's success in genetics can be attributed to several factors. Choice of plant. Mendel chose pea plants which have distinct characteristics and are easy to cultivate. Control cross pollination. He meticulously controlled the breeding process by performing cross pollination himself. Focus on discrete traits. Mendel studied traits that were clearly distinguishable and exhibited simple inheritance patterns. Large sample size. He conducted experiments on a large number of plants, ensuring statistical reliability. Quantitative analysis. Mendel applied mathematical analysis to his data, which helped him discern pattern in inheritance. Patience and diligence. His careful, methodical approach and record keeping were key to identifying the law of inheritance. Arrange the following steps of DNA fingerprinting in correct sequence. Is isolation of DNA, Southern blotting, restriction, gel, irrigation, इसरफा इसरफा मालूम हो जाएगा मतलब कि इर्ज isolation of DNA, restriction digestion, gel electrophoresis, Southern blotting. Distinguish between human sperm and ovum. Human sperm size smaller, about 5 micrometer wide. Motility motile with a flagellum for movement. Shape tadpole-like shape with a head, midpiece, and tail. Chromosome content 23 chromosome haploid. Lifespan after release survives up to 48-72 hours in female reproductive tract. Cytoplasmic content minimal cytoplasm. Human ovum larger, about 120 micrometer wide. Non-motile, lacks flagellum. Round spherical shape. 23 chromosomes, survives up to 24 hours after ovulation. Rich in cytoplasm. Analyze the uses of gene therapy. Gene therapy has several potential applications, including treating genetic disorder, correcting or replacing defective genes responsible for diseases such as cystic fibrosis and sickle cell anemia, cancer treatment, introducing genes into cancer cells to either kill them or make them more susceptible to other treatments, preventing inherited diseases. Gene therapy can be used to prevent the transmission of genetic disorder to offspring. Immune system enhancement, modifying genes to boost the immune system's ability to fight infections and diseases. Treatment of infectious diseases, disease, 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 disease. Introducing genes that produce antiviral proteins to fight viral infections like HIV. Define the terms gene flow. Gene flow, as known as gene migration, is the transfer of genetic material between populations of the same species, leading to changes in the gene pool. It occurs when individuals from one population migrate to another and interbreed, introducing new alleles into the population. Chromosomal aberration are structural changes in chromosomes due to the loss, gain, or rearrangement of chromosomal aberration are structural changes in chromosomes due to the loss, gain, or rearrangement of genetic material. This aberration can lead to genetic disorder and are classified into various types such as deletion, duplication, inversions, and translocation. What are the significance of double fertilization? Double fertilization in angiosperm has the following significance: efficient use of resources. क्या माँ? It ensures that the endosperm, which nourishes